everything keeps on moving, everything keeps on changing. And in this time of the year, we're still in the festive season of Yule, and in the top left-hand corner there of the wheel, in Tui Lake, and the trigram there, the trigram for joy. Right, so definitely a celebrative season as we've gone through the Christmas season, gone into the New Year season. And right now, the sun, from our perspective here, has gone into gateway number 60. And if you look at the chop marks for the 60, we've got Tui, solid, broken at the bottom. That's the base trigram for all of these hexagrams we're looking at in this portion of the sky. And then the top, we got water, broken, solid, broken. The abysmal, the deep within the deep. So water on the lake. So there's a little bit of an oppression here in the sense of how the trigram is set up. And so with the conscious sun in gateway now number 60, this is the gateway we call limitation. And it sits in the root center at the bottom of the chart, as most of these hexagrams do in this particular portion of the sky. And the root center, basically our connection to Mother Earth. Do we feel supported? Do we feel connected? Or do we feel an immense pressure to get out and do something in life? And so the 60th gateway is the gateway we call limitation. Limitation, what is it that holds us back in life? And we can very much accord this with a sensation of the old, perhaps the habits, perhaps the kind of low frequency possibilities in life, at least in the first 3 lines of this hexagram. Limitation. What are the limitations? Well, we've got this body. This is the body that takes us through life. So we have this 3D earth plane experience. We have to feed it. We have to house it. We have to clothe it. We have to pay the bills. We have to be able to go places, right? We have to transport ourselves. So anything that's not in balance, like if any of these possibilities in our life are not being taken care of, naturally we come into a limitation. We're limited, we can't go anywhere, we're not eating properly, we're not nourishing ourselves in life. And so the limitation exists as long as we don't take care of these basic foundational things in life. The moment we take care of them, all kinds of different things can take place. The 60th gateway is in the individual circuitry, and everything in the individual circuitry is transformational in nature. And so we have this particular personal life theme here with the conscious sun in the 60, right? And the conscious earth in the 56. The 56 called the wanderer, the gateway of vocal stimulation. It's the gateway that explores life. It wants to find out all about life. What's possible? What are the great experiences here? It's in the throat center. And so it's very much the voice. It's a storytelling of once upon a time, I saw this and this is possible. And I always tease people with the 56 gateway in their chart, they could make an epic out of a trip to the grocers. Literally, they go out the door and all of a sudden, this is happening, that's going on, and look at over here, and right? The whole thing can be an adventure. And so the 60th gate on one side is saying, hey, no, here are the limits, we can't do these things. But the 56, where the earth sits, is saying, well, we can make an adventure out of this. We can do all kinds of great things, have a great experience of it all. Then we look at the unconscious sun, and we're in gate 50, which is the gate of values that serve the community's well-being, basically. What are the values that endure through time, that we associate with different periods of time in life? What do we look at? How do we look after ourselves? And the unconscious earth in gateway number 3, which is the gateway of innovation, doing something new. And the 3 is also in the individual circuitry, and it makes up this channel, the 360, this channel we call mutation. And so naturally, anyone with this particular life theme is living a mutative lifetime. Right? Their life is not following a straight line. They do jumps, they make changes, they do things differently. And it's basically getting out of an old concept with the 60th gateway, getting through any kind of a limitation and launching into some kind of innovation, with the idea that the values can come under change, and there's this great innovation that's taking place, and necessarily there's going to be a story, right? The 56 is very much into storytelling. And so this particular life theme of the laws, anyone that's got this life theme, they're a bit of a hard act to follow, because they're always making jumps. They're not necessarily going to take you where you're expecting them to go. And so there can be a lot of fall off for people with this particular life theme, that people just disappear out of their life. They can't keep up. They're not kind of following along in some way or other. And that can be quite a strange experience for people with this life theme. I used to have so many friends, and somehow they've all kind of disappeared along the way. And the people that were my great supporters and great lovers, all of a sudden, I could only remember them having in the past somewhere. Because this life theme is very much about changing things for the needs of the moment. That's what it's all about. So particularly people with this life theme, Muhammad Ali completely changed the rules of boxing, right? I am the greatest. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Kevin Costner, who completely changed the whole concept of movie making with his Dances with Wolves. Michelle Obama, goodness gracious, the courage of this woman and what she's done, accomplished on behalf of women generally, and particularly for women in the Black community of the world. Extraordinary woman. And, the beloved Dolly Parton changed the rules. You can't guarantee what Dolly's going to do next. She's just always ahead of the game. She's always changing different styles and stuff. Very beloved all over the world. The sun moves on, goes into the fourth line. And the 60 with the fourth line, you'll notice where the arrow towards the 60 is pointing there. It's on this gap between Capricorn and Aquarius. And it's right in that gulf. It's right in that shift over between two very, very different astrological signs. And so the fourth line is the potential, to break out of any sense of limitation. It can use a limitation as a jumping board, as a springboard into some great opportunity, something very different in life. The same with the 56, we've gone into the fourth line there. And this is really opening up that experiences can be very, very expansive. But this is a fixed life theme. And we call it the fixed life theme of restriction, because until one is ready to make a big jump, right, to literally use a potential hold up as a springboard into something different, we remain stuck. The unconscious sun has gone into the 28th gateway in the spleen center, and it's gone into the 27th gateway in the sacral center. The 28 is the gate we call the game player of life, right? What is possible in life? And the 27 is very much the stimulus or the nourishment that we give ourselves in life. How do we nourish ourselves? So people with this life theme, they're always looking for the breakthrough point. How do we turn something awkward, something difficult, into something that's innovative and different and mobile and something expansive in our life, taking us into a whole different experience of life? The sun then moves on into the 5th and 6th lines, and we've gone into this particular interpersonal life theme of distraction. Fun and games in a way. By the time you get to the 5th and 6th lines of the 60th gateway, limitation, we're saying, what limitation? Hey, we can maneuver this, we can conceptualize this, we can do something very different with this. And the same with the 56, it's like, what is it that's worth chasing after? Where is the real stimulation in life? What are the great stories in life? Again, the unconscious sun in the 28, the game player of life. Life is here to celebrate. And the 27, the gateway of nourishment, and how we nourish ourselves, not just in terms of food, but environment, outfits we wear, things that we read, movies that we watch, this kind of thing. How do we get ourselves really jazzed up in life, if you will? The interpersonal life theme of distraction, right? Let's go out of the mundane. Let's go into something superb. And so people with this particular life theme, one of the most intelligent women on this planet, Gina Davis, extraordinary actress, a very peculiar figure that is known to many people, Rasputin, who got very much involved in the Romanov family at the end of the Tsar's reign there, and Christian Dior, this amazing fashionista who just did so many amazing things, and his, set the inspiration for how do we do something just that wows us in life. And so distraction is taking us out of any sense of mundane, any sense of restriction that you can't do this, that this is just not possible, and opening up other doorways into whole other possibilities in life. All of these life themes are in the Book of Destinies, available in all good bookstores. 192 different life themes. We each have one for our lifetime. The 384 lines are in the Book of Lines. This is in 7 languages now, all over the world. And it takes you into another experience of each of the very particular lines that you have in your design. And this is part of the trilogy of human design books. As I say, they cover all the essential things that you need to know about yourself so that you can make your life practical in human terms, right? How to live your life according to the design you gave yourself. Free chart on the QR code on the left. It takes you to our website. You can get your free chart there. On the right is the link to the 3 books. So there we are. Hexagram 60, gate 60, and these life themes of recognizing what are the limitations, how do we hold ourselves back in life, and how do we transcend them and do something very, very different. Okay,